Mauricio Lara versus Leigh Wood. Man, this turned out into... I'm not sure if it was an anticlimax. I think Leigh Wood just boxed really well, and Lara just couldn't deal with it. It was almost a bit like Ruiz versus Joshua 2, in a way. He just nullified him, and Lara just couldn't do what we know and love him to do, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, for Leigh Wood, it was a great result. What did you make of the fight?
Yeah, beforehand, I was thinking definitely Lara's going to get this knockout again. I think Leigh Wood just would not be able to resist getting in the range of Lara. Then, the morning here, the day of the weigh-in, we hear, the worst thing that we want to hear is that Lara's nowhere near weight, and basically they're not going to allow him to come in, even near the featherweight limits. So, man, I was looking at this as the fight of the weekend, and that took a lot of steam off. People that were going to do live fight chats for it were like, well, I'll just move on to another fight. And I feel robbed, to be honest. I feel that with what Lara, for whatever reason, either he was partying, either he was not allowed to do what he believed he could do, because I know the British Board of Control does have different set of rules, but Lara's been over there before. But Sonny Edwards said something really interesting. He said, listen, you think we know over here, but no, you don't know until you're in those situations and you learn of the things you can and cannot do, especially the week of the fight. So for whatever reason, he needs to take full responsibility for him missing weight and for this performance, because it was dreadful from him. He, was overswinging on everything. And Leigh Wood, shout out to him and obviously his trainer, Ben Davison, who a lot of people, seem to have lost, a lot of, belief in him since Tyson Fury let him go, since Josh Taylor let him go and such. So I think he redeemed a little bit of himself in this fight because it was a great game plan. Leigh Wood, we've known him from exciting fights. Like I said earlier, Michael Conlan, the first Lara fight, everyone knew he was winning. Yeah. And then he got his lights punched out. And you know what? Actually, in both those fights, the way he got knocked down, like his head basically hitting the canvas, and he still got up and tried to continue. So Leigh Wood is definitely a fighter I think we must watch, because he's gonna bring it. Yeah, I know this fight he did it, but do you blame him? Because that was almost a brutal knockout if he didn't get up, if he didn't have the will. He truly has the heart of a true fighter. So I don't blame him for his game plan. He just literally, kept Lara at bay, used the jab, used the two, landed some good ones, and just never overcommitted to anything, which Lara was doing all night. So I think Lara moves up from here. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much success he'll have. Him and his team are gonna have to figure that out. But I think naturally Leigh Wood versus Luis Alberto Lopez. Both of them are, have victories over Michael Conlan, and it'll be a very interesting, fun fight, because I don't know if Leigh Wood can try to outbox Luis Alberto Lopez like that. I don't think it's going to work. I think, his, the style that he's shown previous will make it more of not just a fun fight, but a more even fight. Yeah. And if you ask me who I would pick out of that, I'll just be biased. I'll pick the North American Luis Alberto Lopez, and you just pick Leigh Wood, and we'll just go to battle.
Yeah, fair. I wouldn't take the bet, but yeah. Like I say, I think the styles are gelled quite nicely. Like you said, I think Lopez is a bit more of a boxer than Lara is. Lara's more of that kind of slugger type of boxer, isn't he, really? So yeah, I think the styles would gel. We know that Leigh Wood can punch as well, and he's just displayed actual decent boxing ability last night. So it could be a really interesting fight, that one. So it could be made wet next. But I think there's also a lot of noise for Leigh Wood versus Josh Warrington domestically in the UK. That'd be quite a big fight. I don't know how much Warrington's got left. Although they're both...
Wait, did you just say Leigh Wood versus Josh Warrington? come on, man. I'm sorry, but how many shots can Josh Warrington get? Like, I mean, has he even fought since he lost against Luis? I mean, the Lopez fight was close, but you know what? I've developed this thing against Josh Warrington because Lara knocked him out in the first fight, right? That fight went on a little bit too long, right? Then the second fight, he was getting his butt whooped again, and it was a no contest, I think.
Yeah.
And then he gets to fight for the belt. Like, that wasn't fair to begin with. So, you know, I'm sorry. What you're saying is probably most likely. Like you said, it makes the most sense. It's domestic scrap, both of them on the championship level. Warrington has a great following.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a money maker.
Yeah, but it's just not right. Like, when is boxing gonna get this right? That dude. I don't want to say he doesn't deserve it. I think there's just guys that are more deserving than him. So
no,
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I get hurt.
No, I understand that. In terms of like the actual boxing picture of the belts, I understand that. But in terms of monetary reward and the event, the occasion, you know, Leigh Wood has the Nottingham Forest fans. Josh Warrington has the Leeds fans. That could be in itself a cause for disaster, really, in a big stadium. Could be fights everywhere. Anyway, also on the undercard of that, Jack Catterall got a win on points. I think that was a pretty resounding victory. I saw a couple of knockdowns at least, I think, in there. I was kind of watching a couple of cards at the same time, so it was really difficult to follow it all. Three events in one night, ridiculous. And also Terry Harper got a win as well on points. I think she retained a title. Yes, possibly. Let's go with that.